On our previous episode, we shared our first impressions of this fairy tale city.
I'll just say it.
Say it.
I'm in awe of this city.
On this episode, we'll share a bit about its history and culture before we catch a train to rural Poland.
A beautiful morning here in Gdansk, and we only have a few hours left, unfortunately, so we're gonna try to squeeze in as much as we can, and our first stop will be breakfast.
Good morning. I got a savory yeast cake with spinach, eggs, onion jam, and bacon. It looks really good. Oh, and cheddar cheese. Can't forget the cheddar cheese. Yeah, it's, you know, when you cut into it, it's more like a cake, like a bread, less of like a brioche. Okay, let's try the bread first with a little bit of egg yolk. What I think, if I remember the taste right, suraki. And that is like a yeast, yeah. It's really nice though. It's not too heavy, but I think like having one of these to ourselves would be a little too much. But the bread's really nice. The edge is quite crispy. It's really good.
Ooh, they're really cold. That's the problem with eating outside. Your food gets cold really fast. I got the sweet option. I'm usually more of a sweet person when it comes to like breakfast food we get outside. It has vanilla curd. It smells delicious. We got some apples here. Got some roasted almonds, and this looks like a plum, and some mint too. All right, let's go for the whole bite. I wanted to say no mint, but I was scared they would like slap me because I requested a slight change on my flat white, and I'm having espresso, so that didn't work out as I thought it would. It's very nice and not too sweet, which I like. Especially in the morning, having a very sweet breakfast is like, it could be a bit overwhelming. All right, let's dive into this and continue on with our day. We have a train to catch. One of the main attractions here in Gdansk is walking by the river. And what's interesting, I've never seen anything like this before. This is a bridge behind me, and right on the side, when you get closer, it has the hours of operation. So like for certain parts of the day, it just like twists and becomes another bridge. But for now, it's like this in the middle because there's a lot of ships and tours going by on the river. Another thing that really has stuck out is how well this city is kept up. And you'll see a lot of modern buildings, but they're keeping the same style as the old buildings. And I think there's a lot of thought and investment in the infrastructure here, and that's why it's such a cool city. Olivia, I got a cool fact for you.
What? Tell me.
So, did you know that this region is where Pomeranians come from?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I never actually wondered where they came from. I just always kind of thought of them as they exist as they are, but this is something we learn on our travels as we learn Dalmatians. We're from Croatia, no idea.
And it is also the Pomeranian region here.
Yeah. And conveniently, we've actually seen quite a few Pomeranians here as well.
Yeah, and they love their Yorkies. My Polish friend from Chicago has a couple of Yorkies, so I guess it must be like where do Yorkies come from?
Yorkshire.
Ah, I know. I was just making you say it. Duh.
They like the little wee dogs here.
Olivia's mom is from Yorkshire. That's why I did that.
We just love this city, and it's really interesting to look back on the history of the city of Gdansk, and a few interesting facts. We're not going to go too deep historically. In the 16th century in Gdansk, the city experienced its own golden age, and at that point in history, it was actually one of the wealthiest cities in Europe. And you can just you see there's almost like a grandeur to the buildings and everything, and that is really interesting. And a few things about the architecture of the city as it really stands out. It's probably one of the most capturing things you notice when you come to the city is the architecture and how beautiful it is. And way back when they were building the city, the architects got a lot of influence from Dutch architects. So a lot of people would say that it seems almost like a little Amsterdam or the Netherlands, and they brought the Flemish architecture here. But during World War II, in comparison to Krakow, which was a city that somehow was left unscathed, Gdansk, on the other hand, was completely destroyed in World War II. And then it was rebuilt over time to how we see it today. And then we flash forward to the 1980s, and Gdansk was actually the home of the Solidarity movement, which flourished in all different parts of Europe and actually led to a few different things, including the fall of the Berlin Wall, which shows how powerful it can be when people band together, and it also was one of the leading factors to ending communism in Poland. And it was also one of the other big factors that contributed to the dissolution of the Warsaw Pact. So, very interesting.
I just want to say this church behind me looks so stunning. It's huge, first of all, and it also reminds me of a castle. It's very cool and very unique style. Really cool church. It was actually the first church here in Gdansk, and at some point it was the tallest building in Europe. Really cool. And the art inside is really cool. It feels like it's such a big building with art exhibits, but religious ones. My favorite one in there was the astronomical clock. It was actually quite complicated, so we're going to be taking an Uber to the train station. Unfortunately, as nice as it is being in the old town, you can only get picked up by certain pickup locations, just like you would in an airport. So now we're dragging all our stuff in this kind of road. We're going to be there pretty soon. It's always so hard when you don't understand the language. So we're trying to figure out where to go. We think we got it. But the elevator is not working in our super heavy suitcase because we definitely overpacked. We haven't even used half of the stuff in there. I'm gonna definitely need a little break over here. Yeah, you try. Wow, the elevator is really clean. We're not used to that.
Train stations and metro lifts are another version of hell.
Bye. One.
We have made it on the train. We had to get home quite quickly because it was delayed, and the big suitcase and the little steps was...
Everyone started running.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the other train was here for
It was
a
on
while.
time. The other train arrived early and left on time.
So I thought, we'd have our time, get some shots outside the train, all that. What I used was from the other train while we're waiting, so that's not the train we're on.
It is very warm, very, very warm. But the train that we thought would be like ours was actually a lot more modern. But it's cool when you have the little individual carriage. Hopefully we have it for ourselves. We're only the second stop. And let's just watch the countryside roll by before we arrive.
You also have some coat hangers on both sides. You got luggage storage, although we're not going to be able to put ours up there. You got little tables over here to do your work. I don't know if the laptop is going to be able to fit in here. Got some outlets to plug in. And you got some mirrors to check yourself out. Now we're going to fit our suitcase. It's a pretty big suitcase. You can close the door. Whew. We've been working out, trust me, it's just hard to close it. And if you want some extra privacy, just there we go. And you got some temperature control over here. I don't know if it's working.
I literally feel pools under my arms.
All right, so what we're going to do is open this window, but not lean out because it's not allowed.